てくれた人だから。What's up, chat? I'm drawing the new Hex Maniac. I refuse to be manipulated by Nintendo and Game Freak. I'll draw Pokemon content when someone requests me to draw Hilda getting double penetrated by a Machamp or something like that, but I'm not going to go out of my way to, you know, draw this shit anymore. I would like to formally request Hilda getting double penetrated by Machamp. You have to give me more money. Nightly BB stream. I didn't feel like I wanted to get my run in before the sun went down because it was getting nice. I didn't want to go to Planet Fitness in the middle of the night today, so. Would Machamp have one or two penises? One. I think dragons have two penises though, so. Just finished a 4-mile run. Shit was ass. So let me tell you what I did yesterday. Yesterday, instead of like sleeping during the day, I was spending my time driving to the town next to my town, like a 30-minute drive on the highway, so I could go and buy a fucking CRT of someone that was like moving away from his mother's house or some shit like that. I bought it for 20 bucks. It's pretty good. It's a relatively new CRT with RC cables in it and a DVD player attached. It's an Insignia brand. The only problem is that because it's been sitting in this guy's house for the last, 30 years or whatever, it smells like his fucking house. So I'm going to have to like get some bleach and scrub it off because it smells like, you know how really old, shitty hotels, like, your local Holiday Inn or something, has that weird carpet smell? It smells like that. So I have to figure out a way to wipe it off and get that out. A steal? Well, it costs you money to get rid of your old TVs, right? So it's a win-win proposition for both of us. Anyways, now I can actually play PlayStation 1 games without them looking like shit. I have a flat screen TV, a relatively older flat screen TV that has the tricolor RC cables in it. And when I actually tried playing my PS1 games on it, I was like, God damn, was I looking at the past through rose-colored glasses? Because this looks like shit. And I was like, oh wait, it's because it's on a fucking flat screen. You can't even read a lot of the text when you try and play old video games that were meant for component or for CRT TVs on a flat screen in many cases, because they're just not built that way. So it looks infinitely better now that I have a CRT. So I'm looking forward to further escaping into the past. Composite equals yellow, red, and white. Yeah, so composite and RC are the same thing. It's coaxial, that's the other one. I had a coaxial cable when I was gaming growing up, and man, those things are pieces of shit, aren't they? They, you have to like screw it in at the right angle. I bet like half of you people don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. Yellow and white versus red, white, and yellow. So the red cable uh, is only for having stereo sound. So if it's mono sound, you can just have it on white and yellow. But what I'm talking about are these fucking things. Like half people in chat don't even know what I'm talking about. But you see this tiny ass little wire in it? Like this shit would get bent all the time when you would be attaching and unattaching them if you were unattaching stuff. You have to like screw it on. The outside is like a screw shape, and then like this thing has to go in perfectly. And this shit would like get bent out of shape, and you'd often get like shit ass, just incredibly shitty fucking reception and stuff, and all sorts of horrible, video malfunctions would happen just by like electrical interference and stuff. Anyway, so I'm glad I'm not using that. I was able to get if you want to buy a CRT TV for your retro gaming needs, you actually you have to avoid getting a CRT TV that's too old, because then you get like the low quality connectors like that stuff, and you want to avoid it if you can. So the CRT TV I got is probably one of the newest CRT TVs you can get before we transition to flat screens, considering it has a DVD player. I think Insignia is the Best Buy brand. So yeah, I'm looking forward. But when I did turn it on, the picture is slightly off. It is out of center, which apparently happens in old CRT TVs. But it's not out of center to the point that like it's off the screen, so it's not a problem. Anyways, so that was what I was spending all my time yesterday was doing, was driving around trying to get an old ass TV. Oh, and I forgot to get the remote from him. And I was like, it's no big problem. There's buttons on the TV. And then I realized that I couldn't fucking change the TV input without the remote. So I was like, shit, do I have to drive another hour just to go back to his house and get the input or get the remote so I could change the input? And thankfully he actually had the remote instead of having it lost, or else I would have been deep trouble. But instead of driving all the way back, he had a guy who was helping him move at the time, and the guy who was moving shit in his van was like, oh, I'm coming by your city in like 30 minutes because I want to eat sushi at your local sushi restaurant. So I was like, cool, I'll meet you there at the sushi restaurant. I was able to pick up the remote in that way. I forget about this, but people who live in rural locations have to drive way more than I do, so they don't think it's a big deal to drive like 40 minutes just to go eat fucking sushi. No way you're drawing this character. Oh my god, the memories. I mean, there's a reason why the title of this stream is like where it's 96. I'm talking about buying my CRT TV so I can play my PlayStation 1 games. And then I'm also drawing fucking anime characters from 30 years ago. It hasn't aged a day since then. Everything old is new again. Because everything new fucking sucks. Late stream tonight? Yeah, I was jogging outside. I'm not a real streamer, so I don't try and keep my stream times consistent. I'll have earlier streams when it gets too hot and I have to escape my room and stuff like that. I miss old gaming. If you still have your consoles, you can still do old gaming. Or if you're a proper PC gamer, you can emulate shit with filters and it will look okay, I assume. But I'm not a good PC emulator guy. I tried it once, and some sort of update erased my game save files. And you know, if what you really want is just to relive your childhood, emulators won't really satisfy you because a lot of old video game consoles, if you got them, had like different sort of tactical feels to everything, you know? And that's part of your warm fuzzy memories, is how just like turning on the plastic machine made you feel. You can't really get that with an emulator. Click of turning on the SNES was peak. You know what's cool? Hard switches. Hard switches is the term that we used in the manufacturing industry when I was still a Japanese to English translator working in like Japanese manufacturing companies. It was what they would use for switches that aren't you tapping a software installed screen like on your smartphone. When you have like an actual physical switch that you can flick and it clicks into place and shit. I think we should have Blackberries in the modern era, honestly. If I had an option between like just a normal smartphone and a BlackBerry, I think I would get a BlackBerry now. There's a lot of technology that we thought that was no longer needed, but if we actually got it back, I think a lot of people would appreciate it. Like having an actual keyboard and stuff. I mean, it's definitely going to be easier to type if you have a physical keyboard on your phone. If your primary use of your phone is like typing emails and shit. Old tech had style, new tech is as boring, and the new games and normies that made them. I mean, it's not just a style issue. There was a lot of objective convenience functions that were better in old tech that were abandoned for new things that, like, in that aspect were actually better. And physical switches is clearly one of them, considering when I try and tap some part of my smartphone, sometimes it has difficulty registering my finger and shit because it's covered in like 10,000 pounds of oil and, you know, my body grease after I keep on touching it. Do you have an actual opinion on the art of muscle girls, or do you dismiss it as a someone's fetish? I think this hyper-muscular muscle girls are someone's fetish, whereas non-hyper-muscular, somewhat normal-sized muscle girls can have a place in less fetish-oriented art, such as like fantasy stories. So I draw ogre women and stuff. I practice drawing large women. You can tell there's a clear line between something that can be helpful in a non-fetish porn story versus something that is just somebody's fetish. And I would say that you know you've roamed into the fetish territory when you see an image of Vegeta being crushed between Broly's ass cheeks or something. That's when we're in the muscle fetish area. Hyper muscle girls looks very off-putting, same for guys really. Any body type that is so extreme that it looks ridiculous is kind of silly, and you know, it's not something I want to be masturbating to or seeing just like in a non-porn context as well. This needs to be slightly loose. Baki anatomy. Baki is definitely ridiculous, but it's supposed to be ridiculous. Also, nobody's jacking off to Baki. You know you're truly in a dark place in your life in which you're like, yeah, I was reading Baki the other day and I couldn't help myself. I had to masturbate. Whether you're being gay or not, it's just like it's a dark time. If you're like, I saw Yujiro's ass, I couldn't contain my sexual arousal anymore. Who jerks off to Baki? No one, I assume. That's why I said you're in a dark place in your life if you actually do that. I feel like guys jerk it to Baki the same way they jerk it to buff army guys with massive cock and puffy pecs. Does anyone jerk it to Baki though? Even like the homosexuals? I don't think so. Anyone who jerks off to Baki should be avoided. On the other hand, what's the most, like, if you heard that, like, this person, like, if you, let's say, like, you had to select a babysitter to come to your house to look over your kid, but you were able to, like, actually Google what they jack off to make sure you're not getting, like, a pedophile. It's in the sex offender database. What kind of porn, would you be feel the most secure about your child's safety if you found out that, like, their primary form of masturbation was this? Not the least, the most. The one where you're like, this person is a trustworthy person. I'm okay with them being around my kid and also them, like, driving me to the airport and stuff like that. I feel like at this point in 2025, if you're just like, yeah, I have about like 1 terabyte of blacked porn on my hard drive, people would be like, oh, thank God, he's a normie. He's just a normal person masturbating to standard BBC content in 2025. He doesn't have a SpongeBob folder. What did you jack off to today? I jacked off to... Actually, I usually forget what I masturbated to. Oh, that's right. I began by jacking off to AI images of Artoria of Fate Grand Order. And that wasn't working, so I switched the character, but kept the same AI artist, and switched the character to Hilda. That's why Hilda was on my mind, and jacked off to Hilda. Hilda, aged above 18 years of age. FBI-san. Grown female adult Hilda with fat boobs. I'd rather someone watch porn. Everybody who says that they don't jack off and don't watch porn are either lying, which means you can't trust them because they're a liar and they think that they're better than you. They think that they're like some sort of socially acceptable person who doesn't watch porn. Or even worse, that if they actually don't jack off to porn and they don't masturbate and they don't look at smut, that's like a huge red flag for me. It means that there's something like seriously wrong with their psyche. And they probably have something fucked up going on. That's a huge, like, do not trust this person thing for me. You know what? As long as they're not jerking off to kids or lolies, and as long as they're a competent carer and they keep it to themselves, I'll say I don't care. I mean, you say you don't care, but if you're like, oh, it's none of your business, then you can end up like that Twitch streamer that it got found out that he was masturbating to, what was it, like AI imagery of his peers, like the faces of his peers, like other female streamers stuck on the bodies of like porn stars or something. I can't remember who this was. Does anyone remember? It was like a relatively famous streamer got caught doing this. But they had to do the whole like apology tour of like he's a better man now. But that seems like a really awkward shit. 6 months free Prime with my student advantages. Thanks for the Prime sub, Bill the Dill. I appreciate the support. There's some good Prime Video movies right now. Besides giving me money. Atrioc, yeah. I don't know who Atrioc was until he got in trouble. But that would be pretty funny. When's the next dad stream? Not for a while. He doesn't visit that often. He has his own stuff he has to do with his life. How you still remember that fucking weirdo, LOL? I don't know anything about him myself. I just thought it would be... It's just like a super funny thing to get in trouble for. It's the modern version of the people that get caught masturbating to their yearbooks. It's like, yeah, Tracy, I jacked off to photos of you every day in high school. Why are you getting angry? I thought you'd appreciate the compliment. That kind of energy. He busted it to Pokemon, LMAO. Yeah, I could never sympathize with that. That's sort of an achievement in herself. Pokemon is like the very definition of mid. If we're going by like internet females you can masturbate to. You have unlimited amount of options on the internet in terms of images of women you can jack off to, and you choose Pokemon. It would be like if I was in the middle of New York City and I could choose like a million different restaurants to eat at, and I'm like, nah, instead I'm gonna walk 10 blocks to go to the closest Burger King. And your friend's like, why are you walking so far to go to Burger King? That's like acceptable at best. And it's like, I don't know, I want a burger made by Burger King. She's already dead, bro. No, in fact, she is not dead. She is extremely alive and extremely successful. Let me Google Pokemon net worth estimate right now. Pokemon net worth estimate. Pokemon's net worth in 2024 is estimated at around 6 million KEKW. This bitch literally owns Evo, guys. I can't remember if like what percentage she owns, but it's like half supported by Sony and the other half is like Pokemon or some shit. Pokemon Evo. She co-founded RTS, which bought Evo and runs Evo alongside Sony. I mean, there's nothing that says competitive fighting games like Pokemon, am I right, guys? Maybe if you pay her a lot of money, she'll say your name. Isn't that worth your life savings? Imagine a bus to her saying your name. Hey, you guys can pay me significantly less money than Pokemon and I'll say your name. Surely I'm just as worth as her. I'll even do it by whispering into the mic, ASMR style. So you can ejaculate harder. Why does she own Evo? Does she even play fighting games seriously? She probably thought it was a good asset and a good investment. She certainly is good at making money, even if it's just her pretending to be an attractive woman and scamming a bunch of pathetic nerds. I can't believe she's North African descent rather than Asia. Huh. She definitely sort of looks like a Hafu. What happens if I Google Pokemon sexy? What's the sexiest Pokemon image I can find? All of these look fake. I'm pretty sure these are all heavily edited using computer graphics. If I was living in the post-apocalyptic future, in like one of those Fallout vaults, and they were like, we need you to breed with her to repopulate the Earth, I'd be like, holy shit, I really hit the jackpot. I'm the luckiest man on the planet, which is 95% dead. But if we're just talking about like masturbating when you have an unlimited amount of options, yeah, it's not as exciting, is it? None, she's not sexy. She's a solid 7, guys. Pokemon is the very definition of a solid 7. Just like Burger King. If you donate your life savings to a streamer, you are retarded. Not if your life savings is like $3. Then who cares? Burger King is not a 7. It's a 7 by IGN video game terms, in which everything below a 7 is completely inedible. If we're going by like 5 being the actual average, then yeah, 7 is too high for Burger King. But if we're going by video game ranking reviewers' scores, then it's 2.7 is pretty appropriate. It's like the bare minimum. If you're stuck in an airport and your only options are eating Burger King or eating the food that you get served on the plane, then Burger King is fine. I used to like Burger King, and then I realized that I was being stupid and I don't like Burger King. I still go to McDonald's though. We had a Burger King next to the McDonald's, and the Burger King fucking closed because McDonald's put it out of business. We also had a KFC in the same area, and that also closed because the McDonald's put it out of business. Now we have a Chipotle, and the Chipotle is doing okay. So is the Taco Bell next to it. Now Taco Bell, that's a 6, if you ask me. If you want something that's ranked lower than a Burger King, it's the fucking Taco Bell. Remember, like, half of Taco Bell's ingredients is just beans. Like, refried beans. You can get the same experience as eating at Taco Bell by just opening a can of refried beans and just, like, throwing it on a bunch of tortilla chips. And then taking a bunch of, like, Kraft shredded cheese. And that's, voila, that's the same flavor as Taco Bell right there. Taco Bell's a 3, bro. I haven't had some sort of horrible food poisoning eating Taco Bell yet, so... There's only been one thing that has given me any kind of, like, food poisoning in my life, and that's been Panda Express, which I ate at the local airport before I got on the plane to go to Japan. And when I got to Japan, I was like, huh. And then I had a huge runs and I shat it all out. I think I had like stir-fried shrimp or something. It wasn't like a truly painful experience, but it could have been much worse. The best thing on the Burger King menu are the onion rings. Don't they have like spicy chicken strips and stuff? I think I'd be into that shit. I haven't been to Burger King in so long. It's very hard for me to find one. Not that I'm gonna go out and find it. Alright, we're gonna draw some Outlaw Star. Was 1996 the best year for something? No, it's just because I bought a CRT TV so I could play PS1 games. And then also most of the anime I'm drawing right now is between like 95 and 98. Tenchi Muyo is like 95, right? Bebop is I think 97. And I'm gonna draw Outlaw Star is like 98. I'm gonna draw some Martian successor in Nadeshiko, even though no one's asking me to draw it. I had one person ask for Ryoko and one person ask for Melfina, so I figured I could combine them. Get the whole 90s anime going on at the same time. The Zoomers in chat don't understand what I'm talking about. Take me back. There was a time when every anime was about being a cool spaceship captain in an anime space opera world, and all your crew members were hot girls. That's just the way it was. What do you think about Mecha falling off? I mean, I'm not helping because I haven't been watching Mecha recently myself. I haven't finished any of the recent Gundam series despite considering myself to be a Gundam fan. I don't know if it's just like changing times or it's like I've lost something or the Mecha has lost something. For video games, I can say pretty confidently that the reason that I'm not interested in new video games is because they're objectively worse than they used to be like 10 years ago. But in terms of like me not being as enthusiastic about watching mecha anime and stuff, I can't necessarily put a finger on it, what's causing that. It might be the changing times, I'm not sure. It might just be something inside me has died. A huge part of me is just, I don't want to see too much depressing stories at this point in my life. I'm no longer 14, so I'm not like, oh man, it's so hardcore that everybody's dead, you know? When I was 14, that seemed like, you know, like it was really cool. But when I'm old and I'm actually like enjoying a series and I like the characters, I don't want to see them all die. You know? It was cool when you were 14, though. You were like, oh man, this is so fucking hardcore. I'm not watching children's anime anymore. No new stuff that sparks anything. I mean, they're fucking remaking Urusei Yatsura and Ranma. So it seems like the anime companies feel the same way. Also, like, they're also making 10 million isekai crap shit, so... I usually had a rule in the past that was I don't watch anime unless it's an anime original plot and story, so it will actually have, like, a satisfying story arc within the 30 episodes or whatever that they have scheduled, instead of watching shit that's based off manga, which is much more likely that you're not going to be able to get to a story conclusion because it's built on a much different, you know, timeline. But if I'm using that qualifier for deciding what kind of anime I want to watch, that means I don't get to watch anything, because just like Hollywood having everything based on IP nowadays, similarly anime, everything has to be based on an IP as well, even if it's some incredibly shitty isekai novel, so... If the story is garbage, how many people would watch the anime just because it's a mecha? I mean, that does feel like the die-off of the mecha genre, doesn't it? Because as someone who has watched a lot of mecha anime, I can say pretty confidently that a solid, you know, 50% of them had garbage-ass stories, so... We didn't really mind back then. Even if the story was garbage, we still watched it. We were like, yeah, let's go, robots. So... Going for the nostalgia demographic seems to be the main strategy now. It's kind of hard to tell because I think in the previous versions of the anime economy, you could tell what was actually successful and what wasn't successful based on entirely on the Blu-ray sales. And now that obviously is different because, like, we don't know how much money these anime industry companies are making, because half of their money probably comes from, like, contracts with Netflix and shit like that, right? So it's kind of impossible to tell what's profitable and what isn't profitable for them. Which is really the only thing that matters in terms of, like, success and failures, because if it's not profitable, you won't be getting any more of that thing, right? The fact that we're getting a Ranma anime after they had an Urusei Yatsura remake, what that tells me is the strategy of just remaking 90s properties was relatively successful. I'm sure there's some sort of internal metrics that they have that lets them know whether the idea was successful or not, but it's kind of hard to tell what's going on from the outside, like any other media. Mecha has to do politics because that's what separates it from Super Robot. So I consider Super Robot to be a form of mecha. I guess that isn't necessarily the case when you speak in English, but when I say mecha, I include Super Robot, I include real robots, etc. Anything that has a robot in it is mecha for me. Just different genres of mecha. Nowadays, I mostly watch anime that's on Netflix. Yeah, you and everybody else as well, I'm sure. Maybe I should get a Netflix subscription just for a really short amount of time and then watch anything that I actually want to watch on it and then just, like, unsubscribe quickly. My father was gifting me Criterion Collection subs for my birthday, and I was like, Dad, I really appreciate the movies on Criterion Collection, but I can't actually use it because the movies are too good, so I can't focus on drawing while I watch them. I just stop drawing. So it's not good second screen content, but I'm sure that Netflix has a shit ton of second screen content, and by second screen content I mean incredibly shitty stuff that I don't have to actually watch. When I first started watching anime, I fell for the anime elitist talk about super popular shonen anime. Because of that, the first anime I watched on my own was JoJo. I mean, the JoJo OVAs are pretty solid, and I do like JoJo as well, like the more recent JoJo stuff as well. But I feel like all the most influential and important anime are anime that has an original script, you know? That might be changing a little bit if we're just going by popularity. What would you say in the past 5 years was the most influential or important or successful anime, if you were asked? Because I haven't been following anime at all. I wouldn't be able to answer that. Is it Frieren? Because Frieren would be a good example of how my theory no longer holds up, considering it's a long-running Shonen Sunday manga based. Yeah, Demon Slayer and Frieren probably, right? And so those are both based off manga, which means the strategy of me seeking out original anime properties is probably no longer relevant. I love Yu Yu Hakusho. See, now that someone mentioned Yu Yu Hakusho, is there a more insane waifu moment than this shot right here? She has basically nothing to do in the fucking anime or manga. Goddamn, this looks really good, this cleaned up version of the opening. The HD version. I like this because it's sort of peak music that doesn't actually match the theme. Just like light pop song. It is especially not matching if you know the Japanese. Kurama, my husband, said all women. Ah. Anybody who was like 90s animes was so much better than now is ignoring the fact that it was super hard for them to animate or move anything. Imasu. Natsukashi na. The girls are thoroughly unnecessary in these series. They exist just so people don't think it's a gay show. Yes. That is true for Hunter x Hunter as well, if you think about it. Hunter x Hunter has all these cute girls in it that people are like, Shizuku is my waifu and stuff so hard. But if you actually ask them like if they have any sort of, you know, importance in the character relationships of the main character relationships, no, it's all guys. Unless you're counting Kurapika as a, you know, female, which a lot of doujin authors do. Besides the gay doujins of Kurapika, I've seen plenty of them where Kurapika is just straight up a girl and is choking on the thick Leodio cock is a pretty common theme that you see. But it is a gay show? Wow, I can't believe you would say that. My heteronormative shonen. There's no way it has gay themes in it. But my Yusuke Hiei Yaoi fanfics. On the Japanese internet, actually one of the most infamous copy pastas on the Japanese internet about gay stuff is, I think it's a non-existent adult JAV adult video, but it's like about like a female otaku who hires a guy to come to her house and fuck her, and then she has him cosplay as Hiei, and then she starts asking him to pretend like he's Hiei, and when he starts saying normal stuff, she yells, "Hiei wouldn't say that thing. Hiei wouldn't say that," and gets angry. And I can't remember what percentage of this is like a real thing and what percentage of it is just like the internet walking around on its own, but it's become a famous like Fujoshi otaku fan fiction copy pasta. Golden Kamui is gay as hell. You seen those men? Yeah. Golden Kamui is gay in a way that's meant to appeal to men instead of gay that's a way to appeal to female fans. It's bara, as we would call it. On the other hand, it also actually has like heteronormative relationships with which Hunter x Hunter, for example, does not have. I mean, Golden Kamui is so gay that it's like not gay, you know, it goes full circle. It's just a bunch of bros wrestling naked in a sauna. Nothing gay about that. What are some of the gayest doujins that are for girls? What do you mean, what are some of the gayest doujins that are for girls? Most doujins for girls are incredibly gay. You're making it sound as if there's like a sliding scale when, in fact, pretty much every doujin meant for girls is just like Giga Fujoshi shit. Sure, there's some straight stuff here and there, but we don't think about that disgusting shit. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is pretty gay. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure isn't gay, it's ambiguous. Like David Bowie or Prince. It's from the tradition of aesthetically pleasing men being androgynous and hard to nail down. Androgynous metrosexual men, yes, based on the concept of Renaissance Italian art and the golden ratio. Araki has a master's in color theory for real. If you think Araki's colors and designs were so good, why aren't you wearing a purple suit full of holes right now? You're a fucking poser. Alright, guys. You have to choose one of these outfits to wear in public as your daily clothing. Which one are you gonna wear? Reminder that you're not as sexy as these people, so it's gonna look extremely awkward. I think in pretty much every example, you either have to show your upper chest or your navel, for one thing. Bacharity means you're showing your chest and you have like some silk lace here, I think is what it is. I think we can say for sure that the holes would probably be the biggest problem if you're trying to walk around like this in modern life. I don't know, man. I think you could get away with Mista pretty easily. Where are his organs? I'm so offended by this. His organs were removed by an enemy stand. Something's wrong, guys. What's going on? We're being attacked by an enemy stand! He's removing my organs! The thing is, if it's JoJo, like, he'd probably actually get his organs removed. And they're like, oh my god! Mista's getting his organs removed, guys! We have to kill the enemy stand user and we have to find the enemy stand user's location because they can never find the fucking location. Like 95% of the time they're being attacked from like some remote location. And then they're like, and then we have to restore his organs using gold experience. Like if you literally removed all of Mista's organs in part 5, Giorno would just like fucking restore them and put them back in him. He'd be like, I touched this, you know, this local house plant and transformed it into your kidney, Mista, and I put it back inside you. And he's like, oh, thank God. And they just like go on their travels like it wasn't a big deal. In real life, you don't get attacked by an enemy stand. You get attacked by the horrible pollution in the air. I mean, if you live in Beijing, probably, yes. $10,000 social credits. I liked during the Beijing Olympics where in order to reduce traffic and pollution and stuff, they were just like, don't drive, and they forced people to stop driving. But besides that, they also were like, we're going to like paint shit green. Like they had all these deforested areas because, you know, it's China, so the only thing they care about is profit. But they were like, you know what? We're just gonna fucking paint the mountains green. Peak China energy. Just pretend like everything's okay is like peak China energy. It's over for me. I finally caved to the AI and have been locked in a fanfiction chat with Tifa Lockhart for an hour. I NTR'd her from Cloud and have forced her to be my girlfriend. My biggest problem with AI is that it's too easy to convince them to like, you know, have sex with you or become your girlfriend and stuff like that. But then when you actually do start to convince them to do stuff that goes against their character programming, then they also can get caught in a loop of, like, not being able to say, I don't know. I guess it's just too easy for me to see the cracks often in the facade. The Twitter AI Grok has been actually pretty good. I used it for a few days, and it can do a whole different type of stuff. You can do it to do choose your own adventure stories. You can get it to play Dungeons and Dragons. I was able to play, like, I don't know, a solid 3 or 4 sessions worth of Dungeons and Dragons with the Grok AI, and it was able to keep track of various Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition rules pretty well until it started having a few mistakes here and there. So considering it's not built to play Dungeons and Dragons and shit like that, it does a pretty good job. So many AI stories don't let you get full loot anymore. They stop you. AI Dungeon used to be legendary. Grok lets you go full loot pretty easily. Although, obviously, Elon is harvesting your sexual information, but I don't give a fuck. I was actually having it construct a sexual assault story of Rainbow Six characters a few days ago, and I finally got it to be like, I can't do that to you, because apparently it has some guidelines in your the input information that prevent it from creating some stories. I haven't tried to make it do like lowly content and stuff, so I'm not sure what it does on that front. But I finally got it to be like, that's too brutal, you can't do that. So then I started deleting just a small amount of the prompts that I put in there, like the sentence, to actually get it through. Because the way that these AIs work, it's never censorship on the output. It's almost always censored on the input. So it will still give you, like, the result of, you know, fucked up shit on the output side, as long as you can get past the input side censors. That's why you don't date them, you just fuck them or kill them. Fuck, marry, kill AI edition. Here. Let's drive into the fuck, marry, kill game with Tifa Lockhart. Option 1, fuck. Tifa. Got a lot going for her in this department. The downside, she's got a lot on her plate saving the planet, so this might be a one-time thrill before she's back to punching materia into submission. This is some AI bullshit going on here. Punching materia. They clearly looked up the wiki and, like, the keyword materia was in there. But they don't actually know what materia is. This doesn't make sense as a sentence. Grok does a pretty good job of this shit not happening, but it still happens, obviously. fucking materia, man. I'm gonna beat the shit out of it. Mary. Tifa screams wife material. Fucking simp. Running the Seventh Heaven shows she's got domestic skills. Questionable. She's just like a bartender. Kill. Killing Tifa feels like a tough sell. She's not a villain or a threat. Her whole arc is about fighting for what's right. Recommendation, marry. Option 1, fuck. Anime Hitler-chan, let's call her that for clarity, might bring some chaotic energy to the table. The cute factor, big eyes, flustered tantrums. Downside, her dictatorial streak might turn into hookup into a power struggle and you'd have to dodge the inevitable I'm in charge rant mid-moment. Marry. Kill. Killing her feels tempting if you lean into the evil dictator trope, even in cute form. If she's still got that authoritarian edge, say bossing around minions or plotting world domination with a kawaii smirk, it could justify taking her out before she annexes your living room. Her cuteness might make it harder though. Those pleading puppy eyes could throw off your resolve. In anime logic, she'd probably come back with a redemption arc, so it might not even stick. Recommendation, fuck. Well, you have the answer, guys. Our scientific study, thanks to Twitter AI, has told us that we should fuck anime Hitler instead of, I don't know, killing him to prevent the Holocaust. But, you know, it's Elon's platform, so I guess you should expect that. Even Grok wouldn't kill Hitler. To be fair, I did say it was a cute anime Hitler, but cute anime Hitler might be ready to start a cute anime Holocaust, so that might be, you know, that might be something to consider. I don't know. Yes, you can correct anime Hitler without killing her. Haha, Himmler-san, you're so silly. It's pretty funny how quickly we have just forgotten about the whole Elon doing a Nazi salute during in the whole you know, inauguration. Like, I actually completely forgot about that until I started typing stuff about anime Hitler on his platform. These guys do so much stupid shit on a daily basis. It's really easy to forget when they do something that would be previously completely unacceptable by any other public figure. Nazi salutes are now the epic troll move for MAGA guy. I don't know, man. It's also fucking silly. It's not like these guys have any sort of actual plan It's like we have literal internet trolls running the fucking country right now. What a weird timeline. It's kind of unfair to fascists to call these people fascists. Because fascists actually had some sort of idea about what they wanted to do. And Elon is just doing his best, like, oh, I'm a great businessman, so I'm just gonna cut costs by firing everybody bullshit, which is like pretty much every CEO in the modern age. They had better outfits too. Nobody had better outfits than the SS. That's one thing you cannot deny. There's a reason why there's the Nazi memorabilia cosplayer aficionados, but there's no, like, I don't know, Imperial Japan cosplayers. The quality of the costumes is just, like, off the charts in terms of how good it is. This is fascism for sure, but historians will give it its own name. Just being a dictator doesn't make you a fascist. We've had a lot of different kinds of authoritarian strongmen post-World War II era fascism that we haven't necessarily called fascists. I feel like one of the things that defines fascism is like an idea of, through masculinity and strength, kind of becoming something greater than yourself, like Ubermensch shit and stuff like that. And also a desire for, like, foreign expansion. I think there's more, like, comprehensive studies and definitions that you can put into that. But the current era of Trump autocracy doesn't really have those sort of elements in the way that previous fascism has. So I think it's a little inaccurate to be like, oh, they're fascist, you know. Is there a non-fascist dictator? So people don't actually think about this very much, but dictators are basically the default form of government throughout the world. It's more common to not have a dictator, or it's more rare to not have a dictator than to have, like, they're not the exception. They're much closer to the standard form of government, considering, like, pretty much every African country has a dictator, and most of Eastern Europe also has probably some form of dictator, and so on and so on. So there's a lot of different variations within that those different dictators. So yeah, there's a lot of dictators that aren't fascist. We just love daddies who tell us what to do. It's kind of hard to dislodge somebody once they get that much power because, you know, then they can just murder you. So we don't have to really love them, but yeah. Do you understand that economically socialist and communist regimes can still be fascist? Well, let's look at, like, a dictionary definition of fascism. Dictionary. Merriam-Webster. What does Merriam-Webster define fascism as? A populist political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts nation and often race above the individual, that is associated with a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, and that is characterized by severe economic and social regimentation and by forcible suppression of opposition. So that's like about 4 different things right here. If we're going through, for example, Trump right now, exalts nation and often race above the individual. Trump really doesn't do that very often. We haven't really heard Trump like yell at citizens and ask them to make sacrifices for the greater good of the United States. He actually doesn't say shit like that very often. Associated with a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader. So we have lots of governments like that, right? Because the modern version of fascism and like dictatorships in general is just you become the autocratic leader, and then you make a lot of money by running your country as like, you know, a criminal organization, and you sell mineral rights to the Chinese or whatever, for example. Characterized by severe economic and social regimentation. We definitely don't have that in America. There is no regimentation of literally anything. It's just like complete chaos. Nobody is fucking regimented at all. And forcible suppression of opposition. So every autocratic dictator probably is going to try and do that, but America hasn't really installed that yet to the point that it's actually functional. I mean, Trump would like to install that with like January 6th riots and stuff like that, but the Trump admin is a Frankenstein of different ideologies that contradict with each other. That's why I call it LARPing. I think there's a lot of things that Trump sees when he sees fascism that he thinks looks cool, but they don't really merge together well in his mind, right? Like Trump was a huge fan of the concept of military parades in his first 4 years. And he was like, you know, it'd be cool if we could have a military parade and so on. So he would see the stuff that, you know, Hitler was doing and be like, oh, this is so cool, but he doesn't actually have like a unified concept behind that. At the core of fascism is loyalty to tribe, ethnic identity, religion, tradition, or in a word, nation. Jason Stanley. So I don't think there's any loyalty in the current version of the Trump administration in that way for tribe, ethnic identity, religion, tradition, or nation. I think most of the loyalty is the concept of the party, the Republican Party, but it's mostly loyalty to Trump, right? That's what's most important to him more than anything else. Like, he's not a disciplined racist in that he doesn't want you to even talk to him if you're black or, you know, any racial group, honestly. If, like, a Middle Eastern guy supports Trump, Trump is just as willing to be, you know, happy about that. As long as you kowtow to Trump, he's gonna be happy. He's a very easily pleased individual, which actually makes him very easily, you know, controlled. For example, for yesterday, if Zelensky had showed up in the White House and basically groveled and be like, Mr. Trump, please save us. I'll do anything you say, and just like stroked his egos as super hard, I'm sure they wouldn't have been gotten in like the blow up they got into, but he was pretty confrontational, which is the last thing that Trump wants. Trump is more like Nobunaga, not fair to Nobunaga at all. Nobunaga did a lot of extremely radical shit at the time that people were not able to think of, like literally setting fire to a temple and killing all the monks inside and shit like that. Trump is barely running the government. I mean, that's the amazing part, is that the American government is still functional enough that you can't really experience the drop-off in services and stuff, despite how chaotic the White House becomes. Can't believe USA doesn't have full-on pompous military parades. That shit is expensive. We do it by doing like flyovers and stuff during the Super Bowl. I mean, the US military does plenty of honoring the troops, blah blah blah, that shit. We just don't have like straight up parades. Are you on an 80s, 90s anime kick? I'm on a 90s video game kick, but then these are just like things that people told me to draw. So I was like, this is a 90s stream now. What if you messed up the parade march, like knocked a bunch of people over? Depends on what country you're living in. If you did that in North Korea, you'd literally be executed. What a great country. We spend so much on our military already, so parade would just be a drop in the bucket. True. But we also don't need to remind people the military exists more than we already do, considering organizations like the NFL try and wrap themselves in the flag by being like, we support the troops any chance they have. So if corporations are going to do that on their own, I don't think the US military actually has to go out of their way to organize shit like that. We might get a military parade under Trump, because he really wanted it last time. And he still had like the generals to be like, sir, that's stupid. It will also make us look like a fascist country, but he might have consolidated enough among his military advisors that they'll be like, okay. It's crazy how there are still pro-North Korean schools in Japan, LOL. Do you mean just like Korean schools in general? Because there's all these Japanese, these Koreans that live in Japan that don't get Japanese citizenship and still have Korean citizenship but don't want to go back to Korea and are sort of, you know, forever in this in-between state. I think that's what you're talking about. And those people, I think they're going to be more pro-North Korean than like, you know, Japan and stuff like that. But I don't know if there's just like a straight up North Korean school. These are called Zainichi in Japan, which means literally just like being in Japan is what Zainichi means. But yeah, there's a ton of Koreans still in Japan that moved to Japan during the Imperial Japan era. The Koreans in Japan are split between South and North Korean supporters. Are they though? Maybe they are. It's kind of hard to tell because that stuff is really handled with like kitty glove, make sure that you don't offend people type of shit in Japan. So you actually don't get much like polling on the internal working of like Koreans in Japan, for example. There's still an emperor in Japan, right? Yeah, there's an emperor in the way that there's like still a royalty in England, as in it's primarily there just for like ceremonies and shit. They don't actually have any political power. It's unclear who actually has any kind of political power in Japan at this point, but that's a different topic. I don't think there are many pro-North Korean Zainichis left, though. Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, you have to be, like, really deep in the sauce to be able to have, like, modern information and be like, oh, man, I sure want to be part of this, you know, shitty dictatorship. There's nothing stopping you from trying to go to North Korea if you want to. I think that would be something that was more during the 70s and shit. Japan had a lot of giga extremist communists during the 70s and stuff, but they're all gone now, so... Extremely old? Well, I don't think they're still communist anymore. Damn it. I was gonna draw Misumaru Yuika, And it really got me thinking, you know what we don't have enough nowadays? These things. The hair that curls inward around the cheek area. This is peak hair aesthetic, I feel. Surely there's a name for it. In Japanese, you often call it uchihane. Sotohane, uchihane. It means like springing outward or springing inward, but it creates this sort of line movement that frames the space, the face space. As the hair comes down, it curls upward and inward back toward the eyes, kind of guiding your eyes as a viewer back toward the most expressive part of the face, which is the eyes. It's a great, just sort of like functional setup for hairs. My waifu, Taimanin Asagi, also has this sort of inward hair structure. I think I see that in today's anime. I don't know. I can't think of a modern anime character that has it. At least not that in that prominent a format. See, we just were talking about Frieren. It goes inward slightly, but it doesn't curl all the way in. It's too weak. I need more. How come you don't see big hair in anime anymore? Like this giant Ryoko hair? I don't know. Just difference in styles. Harder to animate. Hold on, let me see if I can find there was a recent Japanese blog post about this. Here. So this is old way to draw animate and hair. 15 years ago. Here's 2 years ago. Bocchi-chan. Moving a little bit. And now here is the new technology. Look at the power of our new technology. It's fucking awful. I don't know what anime this is, but it looks like shit, doesn't it? Apparently they're using some sort of like 3D rendering some shit. But yeah, this is what happens when you don't know how to properly animate hair. You just get a bunch of weird individual tentacles moving in all sorts of weird ass directions in the wind. You compare that to KyoAni masterclass animators, and like you can just kind of feel the wind in the air, can't you? Just looking at this. It looks so much better. It's always depressing when you see something that looks amazing and it's KyoAni and you're like, you know, the person who probably animated this is dead by now because they got killed in the arson incident. Anime has fallen. If we're basing it on animator skill of KyoAni animators, it quite literally has fallen because they're all fucking dead. I'm glad Japan has the death penalty, so we can give the guy who set fire to KyoAni the death penalty. He'll get it sooner or later. First pro anime execution, it had to be done. How was your run today? I couldn't go very hard because I worked out for like 3 hours yesterday. Because I ate ramen yesterday. So I was like, I have a shit ton of carbs in my system now. In order to work this off, I have to do at least like 1,200 calories worth of exercise at the gym. So I was like in the gym, just like on the fucking elliptical machine forever. What 90s games are you playing? I am playing Final Fantasy VIII. So I have a Japanese PS2 that's still functional. So I went online and I bought the original CDs of Final Fantasy VIII, Xenogears, and Final Fantasy IX, and I plan to play them in that order. And after I'm done with that, then I'll probably, I don't know, buy Final Fantasy Tactics and stuff. I hadn't played Final Fantasy VIII in Japanese before, so the translation at that time wasn't particularly that great. So it's good being able to play it in the original language. The script is much better. Also, Final Fantasy VIII has an extremely complicated story that you kind of need to play twice to actually understand what's going on. There's a lot of very subtle dialogue going on there. Lots of stuff I missed as a teenager, basically, that I'm like reviewing right now. Have you gotten spoiled on Monhan Wilds yet? I mean, what is there to spoil? Who cares? What? About the plot? Oh no. Not the Monster Hunter plot. I'm sure there's insane, amazing plot twist in the Monster Hunter plot. I mean, what is there to spoil? It's just about hunting monsters in the same way. Let me tell you the plot of literally every single Monster Hunter game. Hunter, the monsters are behaving different than they usually do. Oh no, we have some sort of large scripted event like a stampede or something. What is causing this weird behavior? Oh, it's because this special monster has entered the ecosystem. We have to find that monster. Yay, you have finally defeated the monster, which is the flagship monster for this game. Now you have the end game in which you know, grind for charms for the next 5,000 hours. That's it. I feel like Japanese normies have a total of 3 video games and anime that are popular in current year and just play those. I mean, isn't that what's happened with America as well? This is what happens when you have as games as a service. People just play the same fucking thing. Isn't America just like Fortnite? Fortnite, the losers who are still playing WoW in 2025. I think it's actually way better than the way it used to be. Like, you guys wouldn't remember, but before the internet, where there was this thing called monoculture, and everybody would watch the same fucking thing. Everyone would be like, did you see the Cosby Show last night? It was so fun, because there's only like 5 channels on TV, and we had to pretend that shit that you didn't care about was actually entertaining, because it was the only thing that you had. We didn't have like some sort of online space in which I got to talk about Outlaw Star or something like that. I need to fit a character of an anime in here. Do you guys have any 90s sci-fi anime that I should stick in? Besides Outlaw Star, Martian Successor, Nadeshiko, and Tenchi Muyo, and Bebop. It needs to be a short character. Or I could erase Yurika here and put Ludi Dudi instead. Let's see. 90s sci-fi anime. Dragon Ball is technically sci-fi. Christ, you know that you're in the fucking normie stream when you ask for 90s anime and someone's like, I don't know, Dragon Ball? It's like, oh shit. I forgot where I am. And not just sci-fi, what I need is, I need space sci-fi. That might make it difficult. Guess I don't have to cram the entire screen with characters, but I have space, so... I would say Lane, it's overused and not really the vibe. Yeah, these are all space operas right here. If I can't think of anything, I'll just have to figure out some other method of filling up the screen. I'm so fucking hungry. Mommy, please, I need food. Please. Please. Sonic the Hedgehog, that's right. Everything is Sonic the Hedgehog. I think I haven't drawn enough Sonic content. Alright guys, I'm gonna end the stream here because I can smell my mother cooking stuff. So I assume we're going to get the food in about 3 or 4 minutes. It smells like bacon, so I think I have to end the stream soon. See you around, guys. Have a nice night. I will be enjoying my CRT TV to play video games. Good night.